Hello, my friends. Today we'll learn about Mציעא Daf Gimel. Before we start, after such a miracle that happened yesterday, I'd like to repeat and say again Mizmor Lesoida. מזמור לתודה, הריעו לאדוני כל הארץ, עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, בואו לפניו ברננה. דעו כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, הוא עשנו ולא אנחנו עמו וצאן מרעיתו, בואו שעריו בתודה, חצרותיו בתהילה, הודו לו ברוך הוא שמו כי טוב אדוני לעולם חסדו והדור ודור אמונתו. We're going to start over here a few lines down. 4 lines down. Kuf Gimel Amud Aleph. Omar Rava, Omar Rav Nachman. Ahai man de'orger lebeisa lechavre le'eser shonim. Someone who rented his house to his friend for 10 years, v'kosav le'ishtora. And there's a document saying that he's renting out for 10 years, and it doesn't say a beginning date or end date. It just said that he's renting out the house for 10 days. And the landlord tells the tenant, Nakiter chamesh shonim. You've been in here already for 5 years. And the tenant says, no, I've only lived here 3 years and I still have 7 years left. Says the Gemara, says Rav Nachman, Meheman, we believe the landlord. If you say so, if Oisve Me'azuze Reuven lent to Shimon 100 zuz, B'shtora, in a document, now the loiva says I paid off already half. He'll be believed. It's a similar case. Over here, he owes him 10 years, and he says he paid off 5, and we believe him. So also, if someone owes someone £100, he should be believed. It's on 50. This is how you should put it. What the whole tachlis of a shtar is to claim from it. If the loive paid off, he should have wrote on the shtar that 50's been paid off. Inami or michtav alei kavro, to write a document of a shoiva, of a receipt saying that you paid 50, and if you didn't do it, it's a proof that you never paid anything. Aval hocha, by this document of a rental, omalei, the landlord tells the tenant, ahai dichsivi loch shtora. The reason why I wrote a shtar is not to prove that I owe you for 10 years. The reason is, that if I don't write this document and I let you live in it as a rental and I don't have a document, after 3 years you could say you bought it off me. And if we ask you where the shtar, you're going to say, oh, I lost it and I have a chazaka. So that's why I wrote the shtar, to prove my point, not to prove that I owe you 10 years. And therefore we believe him, the landlord, to say how long the tenant's been in the property. Omar Rav Nachman, shoyel odom betoivoi le'oilom. If someone borrows the item and he says, I want this betoivoi, so that means kolod, all this, when this item is still working and good, I'm allowed to borrow it, and he can keep it forever to use it. Omar Rav Mori brode bas Shmuel, Mori the son of the daughter of Shmuel. That's only the economy if he did a kinyan that he forever could use this item. Omar Rav Mori. When you can't use this, let's say it was a spade and it's used it so much that it's not usable anymore, the pieces that are left, you have to give it back to the owner because he didn't take it as a present, he took it as a borrowing. So once it's not usable anymore, you have to give it back the pieces. Omar Rava, a man who told his friend, Oishlon Mori, please lend me a spade, lemirpak be'ai paradise, to use it in this field. And he said a specific field. Rofik be'au paradise, he could use it to dig or to wherever he needs in that field, the whole field. If he said paradise, he said a field, he didn't say a specific field. Rofik be'kol paradise, the boy, he could choose which field to use it in, and he could take his biggest field and use it until he finishes to do it in that field, but he can't use it for other fields. Paradise, if he said in Loshen Rabim, fields, Rafik Vazil Kol Paradise, he could dig with it and use it for all his fields that he has. And he don't say it means only 2, because Rabim, Loshen, Niyot Rabim is 2. No, all his fields that he has, and like we said before, he has to give him the broken pieces at the end when there's nothing, when he can't use it anymore. Omar Papa, Hai man de Omar Lele Chavre, a man who tells his friend, Oishlon Ahai Garguta, please borrow me, lend me this well. Venofla, now the well broke, and now the one who's borrowing it says, I'm going to build it again, and I'm going to keep using it because I have a schus on this one. So the Gemara, you can't build it because this one that you borrowed broke, now you're going to build it like a new one, and that one is not borrowed to you. If he said gargruta, he didn't say a specific well, a well in general, v'noflo, and he fell in, bonilo be gargruta. Sorry, bonilo, he could build it from new if he fell in, and he could keep using it. Be gargruta, if he said, be gargruta, lend me a place to dig a well, kori v'ozil, he could dig and go kama gargusi bari, a few wells in the person's land that gave him permission, Adam Isra'amele, until he finds water in one of them. But today they should have a schus to keep digging until he finds a well. He has to do a kinyan from the mashal that he has a schus, because if it's only words, the mashal could change his mind and said, okay, I don't want to give it to you anymore, stop digging. Says the last Mishnah in Ashoyel. The landlord rents a house to his friend, the tenant, v'nofal, and he fell down. Chayav lamid lo bayis, he needs to build a new house for him. Oya cotton, the original house, lo yasen a godol, she'll make it big. Maybe the tenant doesn't want a big house. Godol, if it was big, lo yasen a cotton, she'll make it small. Echod, there was one house, lo yasen a shtaim, can't make it into 2 units. Shnaim, it was 2, lo yasen a echod, he can't make 1 big unit. And also, lo yifchus min hachalonos v'lo yosif aleim, you can't make less windows or more windows. Ela midash neim, obviously if they both agree to make changes, so there's no problems. Says the Gemara, Eichidomi, what's the case? Ido amale baise, if he said this specific house I'm renting to you, nofal azalei, once it fell down, this house doesn't exist anymore, that's it, the agreement is finished. Ido amale baistam, if he said I'm going to rent you a house, didn't say anything about the house. Echod, amalo yasen shnaim, if it was 1, why can't he make it 2? Cotton, if it was small, amalo yasen godel. He said a house, this is also a house, what's the problem? That's a bigger house, we never agreed on the size. I'm renting you a house, the length is this long, and the width is this long, etc. Said the Gemara, what's the chiddush? If the agreement was a specific size, obviously you can't change it. Elo ki also Rabbi Omer Shlokish, the Omer it's talking about the Mishnah where he said, "Bayis kazani maskilcho," a house like this, and he points on the house that he's going to live in. Bakati ma'ili, remember what the chiddush? He said such a house, and how could he make it bigger or smaller? Said the Gemara, "Lo, tzricha, we need it to tell you the koi aguda denaro." He pointed on a house. He said a house like this, and it's on the side of the river. We might have thought, what did I mean to say a house like this, the Koyaguda denaro, that's on the side of the river, that has an extra benefit, you can wash your clothes, have a shower, etc., take the ship and go to the marketplace. And when I said Kozeh, I didn't mean to say the size, I mainly meant to say where its location. As they say in real estate, it's all about location. Kumash Malon, no. They also, when you say Bais Kozeh, not only mean that it's on the good location, it also means the size, and therefore you're not allowed to change the size of the original house over there. Hadron alach Hashoyel, Emet Hashem, will come back and learn Hashoyel again, and we'll remember, and we'll be zoichet to keep all the halachos we learned here, and all the dinim, and be zoichet to learn it again. Now we're going to start Perik HaMikabel, Sodom Mechaver. Mikabel is 2 types of people who rent a house, a field from his friend. One is parental, is for so and so amount of money per year. It doesn't matter what the produce brings. And the other one is called the Oris, who goes in and he does all the work and he gets a certain percentage of what grows in the field. And if nothing grows, he gets nothing. And if a lot grows, he obviously gets more. So it says the Mishnah, Mikabel Sodom Mechaver, Mokom Shenagu Likto Yirikto. If the minig is that after the produce grows, to take it out from the field, you cut it. So you should cut it. Lachar, if the minig is to uproot it with its roots, Yakar, the person has to uproot it. Lachar Shachar, if the minig is after you cut off all the tvor, you go and plow the field to uproot the bad seeds that are growing. Yachar Shachar, she has to do that afterwards. Akol keminag medina, everything like the minig in that place. Like they split in the actual barley and wheat. Also the sticks they feed the animals with, they also split that. And that's talking about the oris l'chora. Like they split on the wine that they bring from the vineyard. They also split by zmoros. Zmoros are the pieces of the grape they use for firewood, not the actual the fruit, the actual sticks that grow the wood. Bakonim is the sticks that we're going to see in the Gemara that you put in the ground to make the grapes grow in a certain way. And when you need new konim, the oris and the balabais have to supply it together. Tana, it says in the Brisa, Mokom Shunagolikzor, in the place where the minig is to cut it, Ein Rash Lakor, he's not allowed to uproot it. Lakor, if the minig is to uproot it, Ein Rash Likzor, he's not allowed to cut it. Vishnei Maklin Zelze, and both the Balabais and the Oris could tell each other, we want to be makbid to do it like minig amokim. And we're going to explain why. Likzor in Rash Lakor, if the minig is to cut it, you're not allowed to Lakor. Now we're going to explain why both could be makiv. Ahai Omar. But the Aryeh, I want to have some pieces left on the ground, the sticks of the wheat, because it's good for the ground, and therefore I don't want you to uproot the whole chita, and that's why I could force him to be koitza, not to be oika. And if the balabais wants to do akira and the oris doesn't want, he could say I don't want to do akira because it's much more harder work. Lakar, if the minig is to uproot, so he's not allowed to change and cut it. Why? The landlord could say, I want it clean, and that's why I want you to be oike like the minig medina. The oris could say, I want to have teven, and that's why I want to be makbid on ktsira, not to be oika. Sorry, Lakar Ein Rasha Liktor, even though the one says, he wants to make it all clean, I want heaven. Says the Gemara, and the Brisa, it says that they both could be makiv, but why do we need to tell you that? Already it says on the Brisa, Mokom Shanago Liktor Yiktor. Sorry, Mokom Shanago Liktor Ein Rasha Lakar, Lakar Ein Rasha Liktor. So why is Shnei Makim tells that? We said that already at the beginning. So the Gemara, my time, Koma, it's coming to explain why you're not allowed to change. My time, Liktor in Rasha Lakor, Lakor in Rasha Liktor. What the reason? Mishum Dishnei Makim there, because each one has a reason why he prefers Akira, why he prefers Tzira. That's why you have to keep the Minig Medina. Lachor Shachor Vyachor, it said in the Mishnah, if the minig is to plow the field after you cut the tvor, you have to plow it. Pshita, obviously. It's a place where the minig is that when the wheat grows, you don't have to pull out the bad weeds. Aliyu and the Oris went Vinokish and he pulled out all the bad weeds. Mao the Tema, you might have thought Omale the Oris could tell the Balabais. I didn't kishad, that's the reason why I pulled out all the bad weeds at that Karivnolo. Because I'm planning not to do Harisha. I took out already the bad weeds. I don't have to do Harisha now to take out the bad weeds that grew again. Komash Malon, the Chiddush of the Mishnah is the boil it frushale. If that's your plan to uproot it and not to do Harisha afterwards, you have to come to Balabais and get agreement of his. And if he didn't agree to you have to be Harish like Minega Medina. Akoy Keminega Medina, it says in the Mishnah, everything is like the minig in that country. Akoil, everything, Lasuya Mai, why are they coming to include? Lasuya Hototor and Bonan is coming to include what we learned in the Brisa. Mokom Shunagu Laskir Lonos Agabe Karka Maskirim. That if the places when you give a field, let's say to plow wheat, and there's also some trees over there, so the minig is that goes part of the benefit of the Or is that he gets part of the fruit, even though that he never does any work in the fruit trees. So he gets part of the fruit trees. If the minig wasn't that the fruit trees do not go to the oris, ein maskirim, so he doesn't get any percentage in the fruit trees. Said the Gemara, obviously if that's a minig, that's what you do. What's a big chiddush? Said the Gemara, the kula alma, everyone yavu betil, so every landlord gives the oris the field, and the landlord gets a third of the produce. And this landlord went, he said, I'll only get a quarter. You might have thought the landlord could tell the Oris, that I was willing to get a quarter instead of a third that's less produce, because you're not going to get anything from the fruit that's in the field. Kamash Malon says the mission of the Chiddush of Akol Keminega Medina, if you were getting less because you didn't want him to get from the fruit, you had to tell him in the original contract. Now that you're saying that that's the reason why you're taking less because you wanted all the fruit, you can't decide that now. You have to say that at the beginning. It says in the Brayso, if the minig is that he doesn't get part of the fruit, so the Aryeh doesn't get part of the fruit. Pshita, what's a chiddush? So the Gemara, no, we need it. The minig is that the landlord gets a quarter of the produce. And he went vikibla betilsa, and he's getting more than the normal landlord, and he's getting a third. You might have thought, Omale, the Aryeh can tell the landlord, I had it fade the tofiloch adata, the obviously being honest. You know, I was willing to give you a third, not only a quarter, because I was planning to get part of the produce of the fruit in the field. Kamash malon, the boile, the frushale. If that's your plan to get the fruit that you don't really meant to get, you should tell that to the landlord. If you never told it to him, it's your fault. Like they split in the actual produce of the wheat, also in the stalks and hay. Omar Rav Yosef Bovel and in Bovel Neigu, the minig is that the Aryeh does not get part of the hay. What's an nafkamina? Wherever the minig is, the minig is. If you do see a landlord who gives the Aryeh part of the Tevin, Ein Yofu, he's a generous man. Don't learn from him that that's the minig. The minig is not to give the Aryeh Tevin. Omar Rav Yosef, Buchra, the Tapta Varkavta. That means at the edge of the field, it make like a bit of a fence, a bit of a pile of earth. Buchra is the first pile, Tafta is where you have to add on afterwards, and Rukavta the third time that you add on to this pile. The Koni, the Chizra, and the sticks that you put at the end of the field, that on that you put like barbed wire, olden style barbed wire, that means thorns. So the sticks that you put the thorns on, the balabais has to supply all these things. The chizra gufay, but the thorns themselves that you put on the sticks, darisa's job. Klol the milso, the thumb rule of this is kol ika bloma, anything that's the main thing of the shmira of the that you can't without it, the balabais has to supply. Netirusi etera, if you want to have extra to put these forms on top, darisa the Aryeh is chayav. Omar of Yosef, mora, something that you dig with, the zvila. Zvila is a spade, the davla and the bucket to water the field. The zarunuka is like a type of barrel or bottle that's made out of leather that you fill up water to water the field. The balabais has to supply, the landlord. Arisa obid be'uri, but the Aryeh is the one who, if there's a river nearby and you pull the river's water with lines like a small stream into the field, the Aryeh's job is to make those lines to pull the water from the river to water the field. Kishem shecholkim beyain, like he split with the wine. Kacholkim bezmoros konim. Said the Gemara, konim ma'avidatai. What is these konim? We explained in the Mishnah, but Pashas, what is these konim? We understand the moros, the wood from the grape they cut, they split. What is these konim? And with the beraviana, konim amuchlokim. It's type of like bamboos that you take off the outer peel. Shebeim amidim esakfonim. With that you make the grapes grow upwards. Otherwise, they'll grow only on the ground. And both of them have to supply it. Said the konim. Said the Gemara, lomoli. Why do you need to tell it? It said that they both split. They take the konim 50-50. So obviously they have to supply it. If one of them supplies it, it doesn't make sense that the other one should get it. So the Gemara, my time karma. The Mishnah is explaining what the reason that they split both in the konim. Why do they both get the konim? Because both of them have to supply it. Therefore, when it comes to split it, when it comes to take it, when it's finished the use of it, so they both take 50-50 because they both supplied 50-50. Thank you very much.